Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating debate. Is the ancient Indian design system of Vastu Shastra just a bunch of mystical superstitions? Or is it actually a highly rational, pre-industrial building code? We're going to look directly at historical texts, modern applications, and the real science behind these structures to find out.
Let's just jump right in and ask a super fundamental question about how our ancestors designed their living spaces. Think about it. Thousands of years before modern engineering or computational fluid dynamics or structural software, did they just guess? Or do they actually have a totally systematized understanding of the complex environment around them?
Section 1. The Science of Architecture. Let's look at the literal meaning of Vastu Shastra.
So the crucial point here is that Vastu isn't just a collection of random beliefs. Literally translating to the science of architecture, it's fundamentally rooted in centuries of empirical observation, watching the sun's movements, tracking seasonal wind patterns, and measuring magnetic fields in the Indian subcontinent. It was designed as an early bioclimatic framework. Basically, it was a brilliant attempt to make sure human habitats worked seamlessly with the local environment and solar paths, rather than fighting against them.
Now think about how your own home actually feels. Traditional texts consider a house to be far more than just bricks and mortar. They view it as a living soul, possessing prana, or a vital life force energy. The idea is that to truly thrive, the structure you live in requires a vital, harmonious connection to the earth it sits upon.
Section 2. Origins and the Cosmic Grid.
Okay, so let's look at the timeline. The roots of Vastu actually go all the way back to the Atharva Veda around 3000 BC. And for literally thousands of years, a specific group known as the Vishvakarma community handled essentially all design in the region. We're talking master architects building everything from massive, mortarless stone temples to everyday housing right down to the metal vessels in the kitchen. This unbroken chain kept going until the 1900s, which is when the British educational system was introduced and shifted the focus over to Western architectural models. According to historical texts, true traditional design rests on three primary anchors. First is bogadium, meaning the space absolutely must be useful and easy to apply to your daily life. Second is sukadarsham, which is all about aesthetically pleasing proportions. And third is ramya, meaning the space has to evoke a deep psychological feeling of well-being. It's kind of like the perfect balance between pure utility and human emotion. To hit that perfect balance, architects relied on a foundational blueprint called the Vastu Purusha Mandala. This is essentially a metaphysical, geometric master grid. It strictly dictates exactly where everything in a structure should go in order to properly align with cosmic energy and the Earth itself.
Moving on to Section 3, Balancing the 5 Elements.
This master grid isn't just a random checkerboard, you see. Practitioners believe that balancing the Panchabhutas, or the 5 elements, in specific cardinal directions completely optimizes a home. So the northeast is associated with water, or gel, making it ideal for clear, open entryways. The southeast harnesses fire, or Agni, for kitchens. The southwest is the earth zone, Prithvi, considered the heaviest and most stable, perfect for master bedrooms. The northwest handles air, Vayu, for airflow spaces. And finally, the center, or Brahmastan, represents space itself, which has to be kept totally light and open to let energy circulate freely. And here's where things get really fascinating. This brilliantly illustrates how a metaphysical element like fire directly translates to a highly practical necessity. By placing the kitchen in the southeast, ancient builders were actually utilizing the prevailing wind directions in India to carry heavy cooking odors and heat naturally away from the main living areas. It's basically ancient cross-ventilation. Which brings us to Section 4, Ancient Wisdom versus Modern Engineering. When we look at this side by side, it's wild how well these ancient rules map onto modern design concepts. Where Vastu talks about aligning with cardinal directions for optimal energy, modern engineers use solar geometry. Where Vastu dictates room placement based on wind directions, today we use computational fluid dynamics. And that ancient preference for square or rectangular plots to ensure symmetry, it perfectly mirrors what we now call load path optimization in structural engineering. But to provide a complete and objective picture, we definitely have to look at the scientific critiques. Modern experts point out that strict adherence to Vastu lacks universality outside of tropical climates. Applying it in freezing northern latitudes, for instance, can lead to really poor energy efficiency. Plus, it relies on energy flows that are completely unmeasurable by modern physics, and sticking strictly to these rules can severely restrict the kind of high-density urban planning we absolutely need in today's crowded cities. Section 5. Practical Vastu for Homes. Despite those critiques, millions still passionately use Vastu today. So, how do practitioners traditionally test a plot of land before even building on it? Before a single brick is laid, traditional texts prescribe this highly specific, step-by-step test for the soil. First, you dig a hole exactly 1 by 1 by 1 foot deep. Then, remove the mud and pour water into the hole. Finally, observe. If the water remains for an hour, it's considered an excellent plot. This was just an incredibly clever early engineering hack to instantly check the porosity and structural stability of the land without needing any modern equipment. Moving inside the home, Vastu often clashes directly with modern Western trends. For example, experts strongly advise against the trendy open kitchen concept. In this tradition, cooking is viewed as a yagna, a highly focused, sacred process of nourishing the family. So it requires an undisturbed, enclosed space, separating it entirely from the chaotic energy of the living room. And that logic flows right through the entire house with highly specific room placements. The master bedroom goes in the southwest, that heavy earth zone we talked about, to give structural and psychological stability. Interestingly, guest rooms are placed in the northwest air zone. Why? So guests are comfortable but naturally decide to move on and not overstay their welcome. And children's rooms are placed in the east to encourage them to rise early with the morning sun.
Section 6. Energy, pyramids, and remedies.
Now, let's peel back the final layer and look at the more esoteric side, modern Vastu remedies. Simple home remedies for structural flaws often include placing glass bowls of natural, non-iodized sea salt in the corners of a room or washing floors with salt water. The idea here is that the salt acts as a powerful sponge to literally absorb negativity and impurities from the space. Then there is the integration of geometry, specifically this number, 51 degrees, 51 minutes, and 14 seconds. That is exactly the mathematical base angle of pyramids. It's absolutely astounding that modern Vastu practitioners use physical pyramids featuring this exact angle as localized energy centers, believing this specific geometry links the home's core directly to the universe. These modern metaphysical remedies really show how Vastu has evolved. You've got harmony pyramids used to resolve relationship conflicts, fortune doors placed to correct unfavorable entrance directions. People even apply a strip of red tape to bathroom floors to essentially cut off unwanted energies. And they strictly warn against mirror placement that reflects beds, believing that reflecting the body while it sleeps can cause severe health issues. It's a fascinating blend of spatial design and energy clearing. As we wrap up this explainer, we're left with a really provocative question. Even if we live on the 15th floor of a high-rise, what happens when we lose our fundamental, barefoot connection to the earth beneath us? Whether you view Vastu as literal science, a cultural comfort, or just a brilliant ancient framework, it absolutely challenges us to think much more deeply about the spaces we inhabit every single day.